Hello, good morning. Once again, here we are, Dr. Apollo. So today we'll be discussing the segment of indicative topic. So hang on, we will just about few session left, and then we will finish this global context. So without any further ado, so let's talk about international economics, concepts, definition, example, and applications. So factors and drivers of globalization and the push-pull demand supply side. So we have the economies of the scale. So the economies of scale, protectionism. Okay, so let's discuss that one. So factors and drivers of globalization. We know that globalization, what is globalization? This can be a method of movement, no? Of removing barriers, tariffs, no? That's the globalization. So as we know. Okay, so let's continue again. Okay, flow the segments of the globalization. So here we are. The computers maybe might slow. Okay. Factors and drivers of globalization. So globalization refers to the increasing interconnectedness of economies, cultures, and population through trade, investment, technology, and immigration. Uh, so the one is not going together. No, it can be one market. The the world is can be one market only, wherein all the barriers of going from one side to another have been removed because of the technology and then the policies they created. Now, so let's talk about push and pull factors. What is this? So drivers from origins, push factors. High production, it means high production costs at home, saturated domestic markets, political instability or regulations, limited natural resources. That is the push factor that triggers the economy, no, from doing something else. Because otherwise, they have to management. They have to manage otherwise. They will not. They won't survive. So that is a push factors. Okay, political instability is a push factor. What about pull factor? So lower labor costs abroad. So as you can see, it draws a lot of investors. These are the factors that pull them to go to the country. For example, Philippines. Access to new consumer markets. So Asian is the world's population in Asia. Remember, China and India together 2 billion, which is 3/4 of the world's population, 75%. So the real market is actually Asia. The stable legal and political system. So that's the pull factors, no? Which gives peace of mind that allow investors to stay, to hang on, no? The resource-rich countries. Philippines have many natural resources. That's why they wanted to be there. Example, Apple outsourced production in China. Why? Because of the low labor cost. That's the pull. The push is high domestic production costs. So they have to be balanced. No? Application is business strategy. Companies expand internationally to reduce costs or tap into new markets. Let's talk about the demand. So demand side and supply side drivers. No? The demand side drivers increasing global consumers demand, rising middle class in emerging economies. So there's a demand for product and services. Example technology. Rising middle class in emerging economies. So these are actually dictating the market because they are the people that have money, no? The middle class. Cultural convergence to media the and the internet. So cultural convergence, that means because all people are talking the same language, so therefore they will be inculturated by a dominant force, no, which is the Western English. And then little by little, young generation no longer embracing their uh, their habitat. They go for Western. Why? Because of the influence of the media, YouTube, Facebook, like that. So let's talk about supply side drivers. What are these drivers? Technological advances. So this draw people to operate to the third world country because of the technology. Communication is there, and then infrastructure is there. Huh? So that therefore they can put their hub in the third world country. For example, in the Philippines, they put a hub in the Philippines. Example, Amazon. And another supply side drivers is the trade liberalization and lower tariffs. So Philippines give zero taxes to the free zone company. So that's a pull. That's the pull factors. No? That's the driver that drawing all the billionaires to operate in the Philippines. Another thing, the regulation and privatization in developing countries. So Philippines, for one, have deregulated, although the drawback is on the Filipinos. No? And also privatization. The Philippines have privatized at the expense of the Filipino. But again, I don't know if this is an advantage. No? But again, to the investors, these are advantage. The Filipino, this is disadvantage. Anyway, let's not put our own, let's label this on the context of the business. So, a country that are deregulated, that means it is not the government controlling, it's the private sector. And privatization, all the utilities are owned by the investors, okay? Because we look at this in the point of view of investors, not on the nationalistic side, because this is bad in the nationalistic side. We died because of this one. But let's see on the business side, this is good. Example, e-commerce giants like Amazon leverage global logistics supply side to meet worldwide consumer demand. So that's the demand side. Application government policies that enhance trade infrastructure to support supply side drivers of globalization. World Trade Organization government policy is lowering taxes, zero taxes, tax holiday to the investors. Okay, let's talk about economies of scale. What does it mean? Economy of scale, of course, meant increased production, lower average cost. Because of the more supply, then therefore cost of the products gets lower. So if you are in the production, the more you produce, the lower the fixed cost because it overrun the fixed cost. No? So economies of the scale is the bottom line of most production. That's what they did, no? Because of these savings in electricity, manpower, almost a machine materials, no? Input in the production. We have the types of that one. Internal types of this uh, economies of scale. We have the internal cost savings within the firm. Yeah, by for example, company in Intel, they don't buy per dozen, but per per container. So that's the usage for 1 year, one delivery. So it beats the cost. Travel costs one time only, ordering costs one time only, and many costs. Insurance is one time only, holding cost is one time only, and many things. It saves a lot. Okay? We have the another type is external. What does it mean? Cost reductions due to industry level growth. Example, skilled labor cluster. The more skilled person, the better for the company because they will go to innovate. example, Toyota reduces per unit car cost by mass production, producing vehicles across global brands. No? That's the okay. And then application global competitiveness. Firms use economies of scale to price competitively in international market. You cannot sell the product in a competitive price unless you do it in a economies of the scale. No? It's one-time production. So that's one of the example of that. Another is protectionism. It's the concept of this one. Protectionism is the practice of shielding countries' domestic industry, the local industry, from foreign competition through tariffs, quotas, and other trade barriers. Other producers cannot enter into the country because government put a high taxes. Therefore, what the competitor will do, will they increase the price. Therefore, they will be down by the local because lower price. So protectionism. Government intervened, just like Donald Trump, putting a 200% tariff to China. So therefore, China died. They cannot enter. It's high cost of prices now. We have the instrument like tariffs, taxes on imports on Chinese steel, quota, limits on the quantity of imports. So they cannot uh, monopolize, no? Because they put up what subsidies, government supports for domestic goods. For example, in agriculture, non-tariff barriers, for example, standards, regulation, and licenses, no? Compliance with this one, ISO 9000, European certificate, no? So these are the barriers for the foreigner to enter. They must be certified. Just like teacher, no? You cannot simply teach in the United States. You must be certified there. So that's an example of this. No? So US-China trade war, the US imposed tariff on Chinese goods to protect domestic manufacturing. Yeah, we're doing this one. Because without intervening, the China will monopolize everything worldwide. And Chinese that doesn't listen. They just push their interests. That's why Donald Trump see it as an unfair trade practice. Yeah, Chinese is really unfair labor practice. They don't. They have no rules. They don't follow anything rules. No? So as if they are criminal. No? They are recidivists. Doesn't concern. So that's Chinese. No? So this is the verdict to China. Well, yeah, because of and many people died because of Chinese product. China doesn't care. Okay? No regulation, no subsidies. In United States, if one people died because of their product, the company will pay billions, millions. But China, no, they doesn't care of life. They have no because this is communist. No? Communists have no value for life. People is just like a ordinary tool of the state. They don't regard it. There's no human rights in China. So that's why that. So therefore, the philosophy is an eye for an eye, a tit for a tit. They don't change, so we'll put what's appropriate for them. So it's more on an eye for an eye now. So the US is stepping to do what is necessary to protect themselves. Otherwise, China will kill them without mercy. That's Chinese. Anyway, so that's the principle behind tariffs. Okay, let's talk about political tools. Government use protectionism to protect jobs or for national security, but it can lead to retaliation and trade wars. Reported by in this text. Now, okay, so these are the summary, the concept of globalization drivers, push pull, an example. No? So I leave you to read this one, and we've done. Okay. So I hope you'll stay hang on in a few meetings, and then we will finish this one. Thank you, and see you again. Bye bye.